What's good, Life and Poetry fam? Welcome back to the channel with your host, your boy, the one and only, Marcus T, this guy. And we are back here with another Slow Walk to 30 video. Poetry fam, if you guys have been keeping up with the channel, you know what this is here. This series here is attributed to literally the walk until my 30th birthday, the 20-step walk. Not 20, is it 12-step walk to my birthday. One video a month as I go back and reflect and break down on things I've learned and lost along the way in my 20s. I'm 29 now, so 30 is around the corner. It came pretty fast. But yes, this series is pretty much dedicated to that, where I'm just gonna be breaking down some things, just reminiscing on stuff that I picked up and just sharing that with you guys, good, bad, ugly, no matter what it is. But yeah, so walk to 30 video, right? I don't know what number video this is here. I'm not even gonna fake it. I'm just gonna keep pushing them out though. I'll know I don't know. I'm not even gonna do the math. My mind is in a certain space at the moment because of the video that we're gonna do. You saw the title, so you pretty much know what I'm about to dive into here. But before we jump into today's video, today's topic, guys, I need you to do me a huge favor, and that is, if you've been here before, if you are new here or if you have been here before and have not already done so, guys, go and do me a huge favor and go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. And once you've done that, be sure to turn on that notification bell so that you can be notified every time we, and yes, I say we, here at Life and Poetry, drop a new video. Remember that I say we because you never know who's going to grace us with their presence here on the channel, right? But now that you've done that, now that you've liked this video, because you already know it's going to be a banger, you've subscribed to the channel, you've commented on the video and all like this stuff, and you shared the video with your friends, your neighbor, the cat, the dog, the mouse, the rat, you name it. I want to jump into the video. I want to dive in head first, but before I do that, I have to give you guys a disclaimer here and transparency. I try my best to be as transparent with you guys as I do, especially if I do these type of videos here. I want you to understand where I am at the moment, especially with this one here, because this one is a heavy one for me here. But I don't really want to do this video because of this topic here. Because I don't want to go back down that emotional roller coaster that seems to come up every time I finish one of these videos. Because I believe I mentioned before, I don't come up with these topics what I'm going to do on my own. I literally sit with God and I meditate and I let it come to me the day of when I record these videos here. So this morning I woke up and this video was already, it was there, I take that back. No, this one was actually a bit different. I was praying last night. Well, it was morning time. It was about 2 in the morning. So I was praying last night and God gave me this here. He said, I want you to sit back and actually understand this here. So as I was sitting there and I was just looking, I was watching TV, I'm watching movies online, and I'm sitting with God. I'm hearing him. I'm hearing God speak, but I'm also hearing my voice. I'm also hearing my thoughts at the same time, which isn't a bad thing because they always align. God's voice and my thoughts and align, from time to time, because I believe that my thoughts are His voice. It's just speaking to me. But as I was with that, and I laid down and I got up this morning, I was like, okay, I guess I had my topic here. So I sat and I was eating breakfast this morning. I ate some oatmeal, ate a banana, drank some water, and I was sitting at the table eating in the dining room, and I was debating if I was going to do this video now or wait till later in the evening to do it, and so I can like pep myself up a little bit. But I knew the longer I waited, that I was either going to psych myself out of doing it, or I was going to alter it, or give you this facade of something that and it wasn't going to be me with this topic here. But I was sitting and I was thinking about the topic, which is grief. I had to reflect on grief and what it actually was, and if how I walked through it and dealt with it and stuff like that. And you guys know my 20s were they were an emotional they were an emotional roller coaster in more ways than one. I've been through so much stuff in this short amount of time. Um, and I guess 10 years is short to most, but when you're going through it, it seems it's real condensed but drawn out at the same time. You know, I was so ready to get through all of it, but it just kept coming, things kept popping up. Um, and and I'm gonna try to get through this video without crying. If I do, just it's just transparent here. But as I was sitting back and I was going through grief, you know, I had to first break down the definition of grief, and I found this interesting definition, and I want to read it to you guys. Um, and it says that grief is the response to loss, particularly to the loss of someone or some living thing that has died, to which a bond or affection was formed. Right? Although controversially focused on the emotional response to loss, grief also has a physical, cognitive, behavioral, social, cultural, spiritual, and psychological um, effect. Right? Um, and so that was the definition. And there was also some words from article, a scholarly article that I had found that I was reading through it, and I stopped there, and I don't want to go no further. I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole of it all. But it says first that grief is the response to loss. You know, particularly someone living, uh, or some living thing. And I went back to the beginning of like literally year 20. Um, and I couldn't think of nothing because I had blocks. By then I had blocks. One of the biggest losses that I faced out, which was the passing of my father. Um, however, however, I wasn't 20 years old when my father passed. I was 19 years old. I was 19 years old. He passed away in 2011. I was 19 years old. I didn't turn 20 until the following year, right? But I didn't realize how grief, if not dealt with properly, prolongs. So although he passed when I was 19, I was still processing it in my 20, in year 20, 21, 22, even to now, I'm 29. Now he passed in October. My birthday's in July, right? So that's short that, but those few months after his passing, I'm processing, trying to get back into routine, but things were triggering so much. You know, you see a person that to this day, I still see people that look like him on the streets, and when I see people, I stop. I literally stop in my tracks. For example, I was at my cousin's house, which is my best friend, um, and we were there in the living room. We was watching TV, ha ha ha, and a gentleman walked through the door, and I stopped mid laugh and started to cry. And I remember I remember I think I nudged her, or I maybe grabbed like her leg, and I was like and words could come out, and she looked at me and she said, "I know." She had already knew. I'm assuming she saw it too. She must have, you know, I don't know, but I was stuck. I swear I saw my father walk into that house, and even not too long ago this year. Um, to jump forward, me and my wife were walking. We were at the mall, and I saw a gentleman walking up to me, and I saw him again, and I realized that I'm still processing it, and I was still walking through that grief, you know, and even after the passing of my dad, and then I come across, you know, I'm gonna skip, I'm gonna jump around a little bit here now. My dad had passed 2011, and years later, I think what 2017, 2018, my grandfather, grandmother passed back to back. His parents, if you guys know my story, you know I didn't meet my mom's, my mother's parents. Her mom passed the day I was born. I'm not sure when her father had passed, but I never got to meet neither one of them. But you know, so I'm dealing with this grief factor here for my father and his parents, and I'm processing it, but at the same time I'm suppressing it because I don't want to deal with it, you know. And I remember I remember I went to my grandfather's funeral. I was at his funeral. I'm sitting, I'm in the front row, and yeah, it had to be 2017. Yeah, I just came back from the hospital, and I was doing a little better. It was 2017. I think I don't want to go back to it, but I remember sitting there in the front row, and I was supposed to have done. I was on his. I was a part of the service when I was supposed to have read scripture, and I couldn't move. I remember sitting in the front row of that church in the front pew, and I was crying so bad that I didn't want to move. I did not want to move. When there was a point there, my little nephew came up to me, and he taps me on my shoulder. He says, "Uncle Marcus, you got to get it together," you know. And still, it made it worse. And I was like, dang, like I have to be able to deal with this and to process it. But I did what I do how, I I processed it at that point, and I was okay. What's next? And you know, um, then my grandma passed away right after if look shortly after that. But I did not go to her funeral. I don't regret not going to her funeral. And I'm gonna say this is why I don't. I was able to give I was able to say my last goodbyes to her as our family went to view her body. But when we were there, I didn't see my grandmother. She the lady in the casket looked nothing like her. And I didn't want to see that a second time around. I wanted to keep that memory of her alive, and I guess that was my way of coping with the grief of it all. But I was still suppressing it. But so all that stuff was piling up, and as I was reflecting back on this video again, I woke up this morning, sitting at the table eating my oatmeal, and I'm eating my banana, drinking my water. I'm scrolling through my iPad, trying to stay occupied, keep my mind busy, so I can be, as clear headed as I can for to do this here, to get this out as clear as possible. Because this is a big thing I want to talk about. Processing grief is an important thing to learn, so that you're not suppressing those feelings you have, because as you continue to bottle those things up, which I'm learning day by day by day, that as long as you bottle them up, that you'll never be able to release it. But then as I was sitting there this morning, and this literally came to me this morning, and I was thinking that sometimes we don't just grieve over those we've lost. Sometimes we grieve over circumstances or situations or things that happen, and things that things that you've lost, physically or emotionally, so on and so forth. And I was thinking, I was like, well, there was a big, huge thing that I lost. Outside of my father and his parents and other things along the way. But I realized that I'm still dealing with the fact the I'm still dealing with the fact that I lost the ability to walk. And it's I lost the ability to walk, and I realized that I was suppressing that too. That I stay positive and all these things here, but did I really sit down and actually uh, uh, break it down and to understand? Okay, that this is what this is here, and that you're also dealing with this here, and you're still holding on to this here. It was so much that came back, and it hit me so heavy this morning that I just woke up, and I'm at the table, and I'm still eating my oatmeal. I'm watching my TV, whatever, on the iPad, and I'm praying over my food as before I begin to eat, and I just call on God's name in my head as I'm eating my oatmeal, and I'm just like, why do I have to go through all this here, and why am I still grieving over these things here when, okay, it happened, what's next? And I'm realizing that's not healthy. I can't just jump to what's next after I've faced the first stage of grief. actually walk through that process there, um, and and understanding that was one of the biggest things, guys. Excuse me, my light went out. Ring light went out. Um, but the understanding that was one of the biggest things for me, and and as I was going through it, and I'm literally sitting there and trying to process all of these things here, right? All of these things here, and then it clicks, and I was like, okay, I haven't processed it, not one bit. I haven't processed it, but is that to say that I won't process it? You know, but all these things here, and it was just so much. It was so much. It was so much. It was so much. But I I guess I say that to say this here. Um, Being in that space early on, um, I allowed myself to basically set myself up. I didn't want to process it. I didn't want to believe it to be so. I was there with my father, took his last breath. I wasn't able to see my grandfather in the moments before he passed. I saw my grandmother as we knew in the beginning, as we knew she was transitioning. But it was so much that was happening, was transpiring, and I didn't take the time to process it. Um, and so I say all that to say this here, guys. I encourage you that I encourage you to take as much time as you need to process that and those in which you've lost. Take that time to feel, take that time to express it and walk through those stages and make sure that you're actually feeling as you go through and allow yourself to hurt and to heal, right? You have to hurt before you heal. Allow that to happen because you don't want that to bottle up because you never know what's going to come out. Like I'm literally sitting here before you today, which with so much hurt that I could almost say that with the right trigger, I will break down. And I came to that Selah moment this morning, right? Started at 19 into 20. It's 29 going into 30, right? And it's the transitions, right? From teen to 20, right? From 29 to 30. It's that and it's hitting me now that I have to go through it. I have to process it, right? Now I know I've skipped through these stages, the stages of grief along my path there, but I want to share with you guys these stages of grief, right? So that you could know it, you can process it, you can work through them with a friend that you trust and that has your back and your best interests at heart as you're walking through these things, that can be there to support you, that you can lean on, and that can pour into you. Um, but so the 5 stages of grief um, are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, right? Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Right? I went straight from denial to I went from denial to acceptance to depression to bargaining to anger, back to denial, back to acceptance, and I bounced around. Walk those steps. Allow yourself to feel and to heal. Get to that side of healing as you walk through those steps there, and it's like these slow walk to 30 videos really have me going back and breaking down so much stuff. But it's so therapeutic to be able to express it. I know you guys don't know me as well as you might know the person next to you, or the person you've been friends with 30, 20, 30, 15, whatever years. But I want to let you into my 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 uh, my my bubble. I want to let you into that space there, and be as transparent, as open with you guys as possible. That's why I started Life in Poetry, for me to share my story with you, my experiences, my testimonies, my weaknesses, my strengths, um, and know that I can care less if you throw them back at me. Um, I'm doing this because it's something that I have to do. Not just because God instructed it to happen and laid it out for me to do it this way, but because He knew that I needed the healing from it. And being able to express it like this here, I'm receiving so much, so much, so much healing from this here. Being able to do these videos, even the poetry videos, even me just sitting there talking about random stuff, it's so therapeutic just to be able to talk and just to get it out. Um, but yeah, yo, so grief for me, it's a day by day process, and although I'm still going through it, and I'm realizing it now that I'm still processing it here, I also know that time heals. Um, Time surely does heal, and I know that as long as I continue to feel right, I'll get to that healing piece of the entirety of it all, from the loss of people in my life to the loss of the ability to walk on my own, to the loss of so much, so much. But it's not going to stop me. Like the chapter, like my grief chapter in life, may be longer than most, or maybe shorter than most. Your chapter is written how you choose to write it. But I can honestly say this here: as I walk through these steps here, and I process and I deal with, I acknowledge, I address, and I truly learn to work, and I truly learn to work the problem when it comes to this here. Um, I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be all right. But Life Project family, I think we're gonna close this video here. I don't want to go too longer for this one here. We're already past my recording mark for this video here, but it's fine. We transparency sometimes takes time to get out. Um, but yeah, I'm just glad I have an amazing support system around me. I have a wife who loves me unconditionally, and is there for me in these times here I'm going through, just as I try my best to be there for her in the times when she's dealing with things. And it's it's amazing to be loved, not just by my wife, but by my friends and my family, and even you guys, Life and Poetry family. Um, you support me and you encourage me, and I definitely do the same back for you guys. I love you guys so much, and I thank God for rocking with me through this process of journey here, and being patient, as transparency does take time. Um, but just continue to stay tuned. Continue to stay tuned. Continue to follow me on all social media platforms. The Life Poetry Facebook page, my Twitter page, my Instagram, and TikTok. Stay up to date with those pages there. As I'm dropping content on every page. On every page, content will be dropped. Probably every day, every other day. I don't know. Just stay tuned. You never know, right? Life Poetry family, guys, I thank you guys so much. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Um, and yeah, I'm gonna go, but again, I encourage you guys. I encourage you guys to allow yourselves to feel. Allow yourselves to feel. And just as I said in the previous video, I think in the regroup video, I'm not previous, the video from last week. Remember to breathe. Remember to breathe. Remember to breathe. I encourage you to remind yourself daily to sometimes step back, take that deep breath in, and release, just like that. For your family, guys, we're gonna close out the video here. But as always, be blessed, stay safe, and until next time, we out. Peace.